Good evening, I'm Lindsay Brown. Tonight we learn the names of the 3 Minneapolis police officers who fired their weapons during last Wednesday's deadly shooting outside a Holiday gas station. The BCA says Officer Paul Hunn, Sergeant Darcy Klein, and Officer Jason Schmidt are all on standard administrative leave. 23-year-old Dolal Idd died in that shooting. Officers say Idd fired first. We saw just under 30 seconds of a body camera video police released last week showing the incident. But now we're learning after receiving information from an informant, officers were attempting to buy a gun from Idd that night. This is all part of a weapons investigation. And once officers surrounded Idd's vehicle to arrest him, they say he hit several police officers, their vehicles with his own car, then fired at officers. Tonight, a search warrant is shedding new light on the case. Callan Gray has the story.
Hands up! Hands up!
When officers arrived at the Holiday gas station at the corner of East 36th and Cedar, they were trying to buy a high-capacity handgun from Dolal Idd, who they believed was selling firearms illegally and wasn't allowed to have guns. That's according to a search warrant application we've obtained, which also says officers used the help of a confidential informant to do so.
Is this someone that Mr. Idd would have known?
My guess is this is someone that he would have known.
Kyle Loven is a former FBI special agent.
My guess is that if he would not have known this person, he would have been suspicious and probably would not have shown up to allegedly make the firearms transfer.
That informant also told investigators, quote, the suspect had additional firearms at his residence, leading Hennepin County Sheriff's deputies and BCA investigators to search an Eden Prairie home in the early morning hours after the shooting, where they say Idd lived along with family. The search warrant says Eden Prairie police had been called to the home several times in the past, including for a 2018 weapons offense, and it was the address listed for another man recently arrested by Bloomington police for a homicide involving a firearm. Investigators believed, quote, weapons will likely be located inside the residence.
There was sufficient probable cause in my view. Oftentimes, warrant applications are based, I would say the majority of the times, they're based on information from confidential informants.
Loven explained there are 2 kinds of confidential informants, some who are under investigation themselves and provide information to police as part of a deal, and others who are paid by police.
Unless there has been a situation where the confidential informant has lied in the past or been untruthful, typically a court will accept information from confidential informants when it comes to warrant applications.
But investigators did not find what they were looking for.
It's a little unusual that weapons, additional weapons or evidence of weapons sales were not found.
This entire operation now has even more questions today than yesterday.
Jailani Hussein is with the Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations and says it casts doubt on the entire investigation.
Because now we're learning about that the informant had a big role in this operation, and this informant is the same informant who said that this family is harboring weapons, and no weapon was found through this investigation. But right now, every fact that we have received either has been inconclusive or it has led to us to believe that there was misconduct by the police.
And the raid itself, he says, was terrifying for the family.
This is a trauma that this family is going to live with beyond what took place. This can happen to any home in Minnesota, regardless of who you are, and we should not have our law enforcement come in that way.
The BCA says it found 2 handguns in Idd's vehicle, including one that's the same make and model of the one officers were trying to buy from Idd. The agency wouldn't tell us whether any other weapons were discovered in that car. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office has asked Dakota County to decide whether the officers should face charges.
And Callan, Dakota County making that decision. This is now the 2nd time they've used this protocol.
That's right. In June, 5 Metro County attorneys decided when there's a deadly officer-involved shooting in their own county, they will not decide on officer charges or prosecute the case. Instead, one of the other 5 counties will take over. Jailani Hussein, who you just heard from, wants an independent investigator instead, possibly from outside of Minnesota. He questions the Dakota County attorney's record. 2 years ago, James Backstrom did not charge the officers in another deadly shooting. Lindsay.
Different investigation. Callan, thank you.